but I want to. I'm Marilyn
And
Harris.
I'm Percy Smith.
Welcome to Victoriously Crazy Podcast. It has been an exciting weekend, right, Percy?
Yeah.
And what about you, Bennett? It was exciting for you too?
That background's all too familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
now
you
that you've
know the
been here,
source. Now
yeah.
you know the source. We had a blast at Matt Bennett's Party 101 at Echoplex in Glendale.
Yeah.
Bennett was here in Los Angeles. He hung out with us, actually stayed with us, and we had a ball.
Yeah. We also got to give shout out to Stia and her manager, Lori Battle. They're wonderful folks.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
For joining us at Party 101.
Yay! We actually roped them into coming on stage along with Bennett. They kind of herded Andre's grandma out there. You've probably seen some videos by now.
Yeah.
We're going to be reading questions and answers from our guests online, Dan Warp Shows. This is the making of Victorious Part 2. So we're going to pick up and dive in deeper with more information. And we're going to be reading questions of them and getting answers from Dan Warp Shows.
They know Dan Schneider, the creator of Victorious. So let's do this. Yeah. So did Dan or other writers ever base storylines on real life? Yes. Dan Snyder finished writing the Drake and Josh pilot on the plane. This may have partly inspired the writing on Wi-Fi in the Sky, right?
Yeah.
Remember
When
that?
Tori
That was funny.
doing her homework assignment
Oh, I love that
on the
episode.
plane.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's when I punched that computer. On iCarly, Spencer's best friend Sacco was named after Dan's furniture maker named Sacco. Also, he named Henry Danger after his nephew Henry.
Wow.
I love that.
That's cool,
That's
isn't it?
insider info right there. What inspired the musical dance numbers on Victorious? In Locked Up, the musical dance number for I Want You Back was inspired by a video of prisoners in a foreign country who danced to Thriller while wearing orange jumpsuits.
Okay.
Were there ever any bloopers we didn't see on TV? The actors were always told to keep going because a good amount of time, the unexpected would make it into the final cut. Therefore, moments that were technically bloopers did end up on TV.
Wow, cool, huh?
Yeah, bloopers. They do bloopers at the end of movies all the time.
All the time. I stay specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
Because I love watching the bloopers.
We're
having
credit
good, especially if they're
watchers.
having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Did any scripts ever start out different than what was filmed? I Party with Victorious was originally very different. Before the scripts were written, the writers outlines each scene in a document called Fat Beats. That's PHAT. And
Wait,
this
we know.
episode had 19 pages worth of beats.
Okay.
I added that on there.
All right. Andre's grandma wasn't in the episode. Neither was the panda bear. And Carly had a dream about Steven cheating on her where a bunch of other girls showed up. Gibby spent his time at the party stuck in a hammock. The list goes on. Interesting.
Wow, very interesting.
The musical duo Hall and Oates nearly guest starred on the show, but only one ended up being available.
I wanted to chime in with a note because I had the opportunity to read a little bit of the original pilot script. It started very differently because there was a flashback of Tori and Trina when they were 7 and 8 years old.
Oh, I filmed that.
You saw it?
I saw it. I actually filmed some of those scenes. One of them was very competitive against the other, and she jumped over a piano or something and fell, and they had the tiniest stunt woman I've ever seen in my life doing that because they didn't want the little girl actor to get hurt. And I guess they decided not to use that or something. They were combative towards each other practically.
Like the actors?
Wow.
Yeah, they had the two sisters being in strong competition with each other. Yeah, I remember that.
If people want to
Yeah.
get even more insight into the pilot, they should really listen to our interview with Jennifer Carter, who played Tori's mom, because she was not the original mom. A different woman played the mom.
Okay.
And then I remember she talked about it on our podcast. And then I always go back to Lane Napper, because Lane, who played the guidance counselor and who was the choreographer for the show, talked a
Yes.
lot about the original pilot. So we got a lot of good interviews, guys.
Yeah,
Like, go
we
back
did.
and listen to them because we have more, but there's so many that you can go back to if you want to learn more about the making of Victorious.
Yeah, so it kind of backs up that information. So here's question 12. If you're comfortable with it, would you like to share how you acquired so much knowledge about Dan Schneider's shows? And then here's the answer. I would really put time and energy into Googling and researching every interview or YouTube video. I would even scour Twitter and other sources for information.
Scripts have helped along with reaching out to guest actors and crew members.
The Twitter / Instagram account at the Pair Source also has helped me learn a ton along the way. I originally started the account as a hobby when I first started college. It kept growing into something bigger after I realized I had a passion for Dan's shows and finding out behind the scenes and set stories.
For the last year and a half, I've been working as a set PA on many big productions on the East Coast. This opportunity came strictly thanks to cold emailing.
So cold emailing, for those of you that don't know, is just randomly sending out emails to a whole bunch of production companies and studios saying I'm interested in, working in this position or that position, and evidently they got a hit. Someone answered and an opportunity came.
Do it. Do whatever you got to do, I say.
And sometimes the method that you think would no way work is the one that works.
Try all avenues.
Try all avenues to get yourself out there.
Do not be afraid.
Okay, so here's question 15. Where do you see yourself in the entertainment industry in the future? And here's the answer. I very much want to write and direct someday. I want to tell at least one story about childhood actors. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them kind of end up in a tragic, sad way.
Yeah. It all depends on the kind of guidance they have.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody behind you that really cares and loves you.
That's true.
Can I say something about that before you finish this paragraph?
Sure.
I think just want to give a shout out to one thing about Dan's shows, that we've gotten to know a lot of the crew members through the podcast and people that I've kind of talked to a little bit more outside of it. There's a lot of different people that were making sure the actors were looked after. I talked to somebody the other day who was a production coordinator on the show, and their job is to help the kids specifically with the fame aspect of it, and also balancing school with being on set. There were so many people in addition to Dan who were making sure that they were being looked after. There's so much that we could say about how well it was run.
And they don't want to get sued.
Absolutely.
The studio, so they got people that are focused on those kids.
It's
so.
a protection for everyone,
Amen.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Any advice for someone listening? And here's the answer. I had no prior connections before starting the fan page. It's much easier than people think to network or start a career based off any kind of passion they have.
I want to make sure we give them all the proper shout outs and everything. So follow at damwarp.shows on Instagram. That's where you're going to find all of their posts. And I have to say, ever since I discovered this person's page, it was mind blowing. It was like, sometimes you binge a TV show and this is a page about TV shows. But I remember the first time that I've discovered this page, I spent hours, because you can go on and on and on. It's going to take you a long time to see everything. But it is incredible the amount of knowledge that this person's acquired about all of the shows. I also want to thank this person for giving us the information, because they took all the time to answer the questions on top of the time that they spend making posts for everybody else. I appreciate it.
It's amazing. I mean, the amount of information is like being, what do you call them, people that used to dig for gold back in the day?
Prospectors.
Yeah, it's like we're prospectors that hit a vein of gold.
Yeah.
And we're like putting it in our bag and taking it to the bank. I'm just joking. Okay, well, until we see you guys again, this is Victoriously Crazy Podcast.
Yeah.
Make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share.
don't know you. I don't know you. But I want to.